Welcome to Conversation with Buddy. I'm your host, Buddy Puckett. Hey, I just want to say thank you to all of you who listen each week, that take the time out. Thank you for subscribing to our channel. Thank you for wanting to learn more about the people in our community. And that's what this is all about, is just people in our community, getting to know them, not just on a surface level, but really a little bit deeper. I always say that I know lots of people, but I probably don't know lots of people very deeply, if that makes sense. So hopefully you're encouraged by these stories. And speaking of stories, we're going to, part of the story is that we learn about their faith, their journey of faith and hope. So the question for you this morning is, what's your faith in? So let me read a scripture to you real quick. This is in Hebrews chapter 11. It says, "Now faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen." Not sure if you've noticed, but the world doesn't really offer a lot of hope. So the question to you this morning is, what's your faith and hope in? And so we're going to unpack this a little bit. And I have a special guest this morning. Can't wait to introduce him. His name is Zak Stone. Welcome, Zak.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Man, thanks for being here.
Yeah.
So
Finally.
I know, right? Finally. Yeah. Well, let's see. Billy Botieff introduced you tonight. Wasn't that true?
I think so.
I mean, I've known about you for a long time, man. You're like,
and same. I've known
you're
about
like famous in the city of Salem and Kaiser and probably the world.
Well, maybe.
But I didn't really know Zak. I only knew of you. But Billy introduced us, connected us, and then you and I had coffee at Ike-Box. Yeah, that was fun.
That was.
I got to know you a little bit more. But today we're gonna dive in deep. We're gonna get to know who Zak is, and I bet you a lot of people know you, but they probably know you on the surface more than they know who Zak really is. So let's talk about who you are. Tell me real quick. I'm going to let you introduce you. Married, kids, and just kind of tell a little bit of a story, who you are, and then I'll go in with some questions and figure out a little bit more deeper things about you.
All right. Zak Stone, born and raised here in Salem, Oregon, with a little 3-year journey to Orlando, Florida, and then came back because I loved the Pacific Northwest. That's one thing living in Orlando taught me, is we have it good out here for scenery-wise. And then, married almost 15 years this August. We have 3 kids, Andon, Elodie, and Romy. They're all at Western Christian School together, which is kind of fun. They're not separated throughout the whole school system. Worked in real estate for almost 20 years on the commercial side. And then around 2018, I tried to test out the waters of being a full-time photographer. And here it is, 2025, and still doing it.
Dude, that's awesome. Okay, so let's talk about, I want to go back a little bit, really get to know, where were you born? What brings you to where you're at today? I want to hear more about maybe how your parents raised you, siblings, stuff like that. So take us back to the very beginning. Where were you born at?
Born here in Salem, right here in Marion County, right by the Salem Hospital, or on Center Street, where that little hospital used to be. I think they tore it down and built something else now. Lived with my parents in like East Salem, kind of over by Chemeketa area. And then we moved to West Salem around my 2nd grade year. And then I was pretty much raised in West Salem after that. Yeah. Graduated high school at South Salem High School, Go Saxons, 1995, which is crazy. It's going to be our 30th year reunion this summer.
Man, doesn't time just fly?
I swear. You know what? Having kids makes time fly even faster.
Yeah.
Because like in my 20s and 30s, I thought like, oh my gosh, 40 is so far away. And then you have kids and you're like, holy cow, 40 is right around the corner.
Dude.
But my parents, we did a lot of outdoor activities. My dad grew up hunting and fishing. So I grew up hunting and fishing. Mm-hmm. My dad got into water skiing his senior year in high school. So by the time I was born, he had a boat and friends had boats. So we were always out on the water in the summer. Yeah. And then I didn't really learn to snow ski until later in grade school. We started going to the mountain. And so like water skiing, snow skiing, just being active in that area was just something that I loved to do.
Which mountain did you guys snow ski at?
Mount Bachelor was the first mountain I learned to snow ski on. And then in the 90s, snowboarding was coming out. So it was in 1992, Christmas, I got my first snowboard, a Morrow Multi-Pro. Still remember that. And besides snowboarding in someone else's snowboard up in Farmers Field in West Salem during a snowstorm, Hoodoo was my first place that I snowboarded.
Okay.
And it was awesome.
That's so cool. It's funny, you and I have a little bit of a similar upbringing. I grew up hunting, fishing. By the way, which one do you like more, hunting or fishing?
Oh, hunting. I hate fishing.
It's funny, you're either a fisherman or you're a hunter, really.
Yeah.
You kind of say you're both, but so hunting's your thing.
Hunting's my thing.
So what do you hunt?
I mean, now elk.
Elk is
I'll
your
pretty
thing.
much just go elk hunting.
Okay. Bow or
Rifle.
Okay.
Yeah. I actually took a break from hunting for about 20 years.
Oh, wow.
It wasn't until 2020, I think.
Yeah.
A couple years before that, I kind of wanted to get back into it. And my dad, he's a very avid hunter still. He's a member of the Super Slam Club.
Okay.
Where there's like 27 or 29 different species of North American big game that you have to harvest in order to get this.
And he's got it.
He's got it.
He is that. He's that guy.
Yeah. He's
Dude,
he's a legend.
I love that. It's kind of like I want to be that guy, but I'm not that guy. You know what I mean?
I mean, the storms he's had to endure, the plane rides that almost crash, the bears that they encounter, like
He loves it.
loves it. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Which I feel like his love for the outdoors was bestowed upon me by taking me in the outdoors because I love being in the outdoors now.
Yeah. Okay.
I just mainly shoot with a camera, not so much a gun.
The gun. Yeah. Okay. Got it. Good point. How many siblings do you have?
None.
Just you're an only child.
Only child. Yeah.
Only child. That's awesome. Do your mom and dad still live nearby?
Yep.
Okay.
They live probably like 8 minutes from our house.
Yeah. Are you still close to them?
Yes.
I
Yeah. We
love
just
that.
had them over for my mom's birthday
Come on.
2 days ago.
No kidding.
Yeah.
How old's your mom?
She just turned 71.
Okay.
They're both 71.
Okay.
Yeah. And they both still snowboard, barefoot ski.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. I got videos of them
I
last
love
summer.
your parents, man. I'm not kidding.
They're very active. They don't look 71. They don't act 71.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. That's really cool. You have great parents, man.
Thank you.
Influenced you. And all right. So you grew up in Salem.
Mm-hmm.
How'd you meet your wife?
How did I meet my wife? Well,
Tell me your wife's name again.
Angela.
Angela.
Yeah.
Been married for
15 years almost.
15 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm a member of the Salem Yacht and Boat Club.
Okay.
Water skiing, of course.
Yep.
And I was, this is like 2009. I was down there with my jet skis, hanging out, and
Single guy.
Got some friends down there.
Come on.
We invited some girls down. She was one of them.
Yeah.
And I ended up getting her number. Asked her to go to sushi for lunch. A couple days later,
Yeah.
went out to lunch. I gave her a high five afterwards
Yeah.
because I was like,
Okay. What do you do? Yeah.
I didn't want to hug her and kind of slow play it.
Yeah.
And she thought I didn't like her, which was funny because I did like her.
Yeah.
And then just slowly dated for about a year, and then got married and started having kids.
So
and a
you
family.
were probably in your 30s by the time you got married?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was like
and had you been single
34.
that whole time? And
How about what?
you were single that whole time?
I mean, I had different relationships and stuff.
Sure. Never been married?
Never been married, though.
Okay. That's cool. You did slow play that. Just
Yeah.
you had to be ready, right?
You had to be ready.
Right.
Well, and I'd been in a couple relationships. I was actually engaged 2 other times prior.
Right.
And those relationships ended before marriage started, thankfully.
Yeah.
And so, I was kind of like, you know what? I don't want to get married. I'm done with this. So I didn't even have it in my mind. And you know what they always say, like when you're not thinking about it or expecting it, that's when it happens.
That's when it happens. It's perfect, though. That's the way it's supposed to happen.
Yeah. So it hit me.
Yeah.
Hit me like a door.
Yeah, I love it. We're guys, and we're a little slow to get it,
We are. I think I still am a little slow to get things.
I have daughters, which is funny. So, as they got older, it's like, okay, guys are a little slow because girls or women, they kind of know what they want. Guys, we don't know what we want.
Well, and they mature quicker.
Way quicker.
Yeah.
So I totally get that.
My wife's actually 6 years younger than me.
Yeah, and
So
smarter
that's
than
probably the maturity level.
you. Oh, yeah. Guaranteed, man. Yeah.
And she's still more mature than me sometimes. So
That's funny. That's funny. Oh, you've been blessed, man. You guys have 3 kids? You said 3 kids?
3 kids.
Okay.
1 boy and 2 girls.
Do you, you teach your kids how to ski and water ski, snow ski? Mm-hmm. Okay.
My dad does too.
That's so cool,
kids don't really want to listen to their parents.
Of course not.
When you're trying to help them out.
No
so
way.
having someone else do it is a little easier.
Parents don't know anything, man. Don't you
No,
know?
we don't know anything.
Yeah. But grandparents, man, they know all things.
Yep.
That's so cool. Okay. What's funny, I grew up water skiing too, like I said, and snow skiing a bachelor. So similar to your upbringing, hunting more than fishing. I'll fish, but prefer hunting. So, okay, so you graduate from high school, then what?
Graduated from high school, and then I tried to go to Shemeketa for a year. And I mean, high school was a struggle for me. I have dyslexia, and so just paying attention, even reading something and understanding it versus hearing it and understanding it was like I was learning how to learn. Yeah. And I didn't really even figure that out till later after Shemeketa. So I quit Shemeketa my spring term, went back into construction because I did construction right out of high school, working for Pence Kelly Construction. Yeah. Went back. I don't think I worked for Pence after Shemeketa. I think I was working for CD Redding. And I worked for them until I got into real estate. So like 1.5, almost 2 years. Okay. In construction, and then got my real estate license and started working with my dad. Okay. I was locating the Hollywood video stores around Oregon for them. Okay. So you were commercial real estate? Yes. And was your dad always in commercial real estate? I mean, he started out in residential, and then he switched over in the late 80s, early 90s. Yeah. Into commercial real estate. Did your mom also do real estate? Or she did, actually. She sold homes for a brief couple years, and then kind of got out of that. And she taught also. She was a teacher as well. Okay, nice, nice. Okay, so you get into commercial real estate with your dad. What does that journey look like, and how long did you do that for? Did it for about 20 years. Worked with Hollywood Video, located probably 15 or 20 stores in Oregon outside the Portland area. So I was traveling a lot to smaller towns and identifying a subject property and then building a portfolio about it and then submitting it to Hollywood Corporate. Did that for about 4 years. That sounds like a pretty good gig. It was. Yeah. It was fun. I mean, looking back on it, it was like such a great time. I was thinking Hollywood Video. I haven't heard that name for a long time. I know, long time. But so then right around that time, I decided, hey, I'm going to chase this passion of wakeboarding and wake skating. And I moved down to Orlando. Okay. And that was February of 2002. So it was right after 9/11. Because Orlando was still like in a terrorist watch mode. Okay. Because of all the theme parks and everything. Right. So like stuff was open, but they weren't running at full capacity. Yeah. So it was like really weird that first month being there. And then they started to kind of coming out of it. Spring break was coming up, so a lot of places were hiring. I got a job at Universal Studios. No kidding. Working at the Jaws ride. Yeah. So I was like the skipper who'd hold the gun, shoot the shark, and take the little boat tour around the Amity. That's awesome. Yeah, that was fun. You were early 20s then? Yeah, I was like 22, 23. I don't know. So the single life was good. I could do the math. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was, living in Sunshine State. And away from mom and dad. Away from mom and dad. But probably good for you to grow up getting away from mom and dad for a little while. It was. I mean, you came back. Just the drive there, I realized like no one's doing anything for me. It's all going to be up to me. That's good. That's an actually cleaning my cat litter box. Right. Backing up the trailer that I was driving across the country. Yeah. So yeah, it was fun. Growing. That's a good revelation for you. In fact, I would recommend most young men leave home. Absolutely. Learn how to be an adult, learn how to be a man. Put yourself through some struggles. See who you really are. What you can accomplish without the help of someone else. So why don't more parents... Was it your parents pushing you out the door, or you just going? No. You're like, my mom did not want me to go. Please don't go, son. Yeah. She laid in bed for a month after I was gone because being an only child too. Yeah. Leaving the nest. Yeah. But they came down and visited me. I had an accident down there where I kind of came close to losing my life. I have this big scar. Is this the story that Billy was talking about? Maybe. Okay, tell us. Yeah, that's interesting. So my dream job, what I wanted to do down there was work at this wakeboard cable park called Orlando Watersports Complex. Right. And they weren't hiring as well. So when I finally got my job there. I worked during the summer. I got to run the kids camp and teach kids how to wakeboard and water ski. And then it was September. We had a mechanical failure on one of the machines. I didn't do it, but someone else did, and I had to be responsible to go up and help fix it. So I was really upset that I even had to go up and fix it. And I think that mindset put me into this position to where I got hurt, because my construction background, I knew the way we were hooking up this cable to this clamp that was hanging on to this cable that's suspended above the water had 2,000 pounds of tension on it. And we just ran the cable right through itself instead of using like a clavicle bolt, I think it's called, where it's like a U shape and it's got a bolt that goes through it. Like that should have been the connector. Well, the cable failed, broke, and it frayed all the metal. It came around my back, grabbed my arm, just whipped me, and then unspun me. So it picked me up and spun me around, threw me on the floor of the decking we were on, 30 feet above the water. And I kind of caught myself like this on all fours. And I stood up and I looked at the other two guys, and the guy's like, the cable broke. And I was thinking, yeah, no kidding. And then I looked at my arm and it was just wide open, all white, skin was hanging down. And then the blood started to show up. So I kind of put my arm over it, or my hand over my arm. And I didn't have a shirt on. I was just wearing board shorts and flip-flops because it was Florida,
Right.
1 o'clock in the afternoon. And they lay me down. My boss takes his shirt off, wraps it around my arm, and I'm just looking up. And the reason I had moved to Florida, I had 2 really good friends pass away. One of my dad's friends, who was the owner of a real estate company that I worked for, he passed away. And then my grandpa had passed away, all within 6 years of each other. And I had all their names written on my wake skate to remind me of why I was down here chasing my dream, because they had passed away and they couldn't chase their dreams. So one of my friends, Greg Wineland, he passed away in his early 20s. He had allergy problems all through school. So it was really important to me to live my life to the fullest for them. And I remember laying there thinking and looking up at the sky and all right, no one's here to take care of me. I got to do it myself. So don't pass out. And then I just felt like angels around me, helping me and protecting me. I mean, definitely they were angels there, because seconds before the cable broke, I was sitting down 6 inches lower. It would have been right around my neck, taking my head right off. I would have totally died. Yeah.
That is a great angel story, man. What'd that do for you? What type of wake-up call was that? Realizing you're on your own, you're down here alone, you might die. What's that look like?
I think a lot of denial. I was in denial that I was hurt that bad. I was thinking I'm just going to get a couple stitches and I'll be right back at it. I ended up being in the hospital for 11 days. I was out of work for 9 months, workers' comp, but still 9 months. Yeah. And then the damage to my nerves in my arm that controlled my muscles, that didn't heal. That took 2 years. But I, after I got hurt, my parents flew down. Well, I told my parents after surgery the next day that I got hurt. Yeah. They freaked out. They flew down a week later by the time they got everything arranged. And I got out of the hospital that day. Yeah. So that was nice. And then they stayed with me for a couple weeks, got my affairs in order. I flew home, did physical therapy here for 3 months. Then I flew back in February of 2003. 2003, yeah, okay. And flew back to Florida, started physical therapy there, couldn't work still. And all I wanted to do was ride, just hang on to a handle and go right across the water. And that took 9 months to get released from the doctor. Wow. But I had nerve damage where I could not control my bicep or tricep. Yeah. So I had to get electrical shock therapy and put up these little, I don't know what they're called, but little pads on my bicep to trigger the muscles to even work, because I had terrible atrophy. And fortunately, once I got released to ride, I started riding all the time. And that was the best therapy, because here I am constantly holding on to something. Your arms are contracted. Yeah. And I got my bicep. It was at 25% use, and I got it back to 98 when I got released. Yeah.
Hey, that's a great story. I mean, I love to hear the why behind why you do what you do. And I think oftentimes we're all looking for that purpose in life. What's my why, right? Yours wasn't necessarily about you. It was actually for other people. That's what motivated you. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah. And I often forget about that. Like, it's weird. Like, I feel like every decade we're alive, it's like a different chapter of our lives where we even think and feel different. So now, like, kind of finishing out my 40s, looking back in my 30s and 20s, like, that feels like a different person and like,
yeah,
crazy.
Yeah, you're knocking on the door of 50.
Yeah.
Right? You're a couple years away?
I'll be 49 this year.
Okay. Hey, when did you transition from water skiing, slalom, to wakeboarding? And was it the same time you also went from snow skiing on 2 to snowboarding?
Kinda. So, like, wakeboarding wasn't even invented, wasn't even a scurfer when I was skiing. And so, like, I'd slalom ski and I'd always want to jump. I'd want to bunny hop or like try and jump the wake. And my dad's like, no, you got to go back and forth really fast.
Come on, yeah.
And I make
How
fun
boring,
of it.
man. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, the scurfer came out. There was a pink one called the Scurfer Blast. My neighbor at the lake we go to, I'm not going to say the name because we don't need any more boats there.
Yeah, exactly.
But he had one and I tried it out and I was like hooked. Standing sideways, that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it was that summer for my birthday, my parents got me a scurfer.
Okay.
I was too small to do a deep water start on it.
Okay.
So I could only sit on the dock and do a dock start.
Right.
So I'd never want to fall. So I never really tried stuff. And then a couple years later, I got a little bit bigger and I could actually deep water start.
Right.
So I got into it more where I could jump the wake and do 180s.
And crash.
Oh yeah, lots of crashing. And then the board technology was changing, developing, evolving. So I got a better board, the Hyperlight Pro, which was thinner, a lot easier to manage.
Yeah.
And then I just started wakeboarding every time I could.
Yeah. So that became a professional sport you started doing.
Yeah.
And then
that's why I moved to Florida.
Okay, that's why you moved to Florida. Who sponsored you to move down there and do all that?
No one's, my parents sponsored me at first.
Dad. Sweet. Okay.
Sponsored myself, when I got down there. I didn't really, I did some contests here in Oregon. I was placing top 3, if not first place sometimes. And I had some local, like Active Watersports. There was a tower company called like Bear West, BARE West.
Okay.
And they made towers for boats. They sponsored me. That was like my first sponsor that gave me money to cover all my entry fees for contests. Must have felt good, man. It was crazy.
Yeah.
And so I did that, and then I got hurt my knee, and I was like, I'm just going to wake skate because I'm not attached to the board. It kind of like gives me a little bit more freedom for my knee. Mm-hmm. So I just fell in love with the wake skating. I remember the first time I had jumped the wake, I'd hit the wake, the board completely left my feet.
Yeah.
And then the board hit the water on the other side of the lake, and then I landed on top of it. And I was like, that's the coolest thing ever. Complete accident. Like, I could never reduplicate that nowadays. Yeah, but it was like the coolest feeling. So I started doing the wakeboard contest as a wake skater. And I could do 180s across the wake, maybe a shove it, and just had fun.
Well, I already know what a wake skate is. I've never even heard of it. Of course, I know what wakeboarding is, but...
So it's like skateboarding on water.
Skateboarding on? So you're not strapped into a boat?
Yeah, you have like grip tape on top of the board. You wear shoes.
Okay.
I mean, it's just like the tricks they can do nowadays is insane.
And the board's the same size as a...
It's a lot smaller than a wakeboard.
Like a skateboard.
34 inches, 32 inches long. Yeah.
Doing flips.
Kick flips.
Yeah.
Shove-its.
What's a shove-it?
Shove-it is like when you take the board and you pop it up and you spin it underneath you 180 and then you land back on it. Nice. A 3-shove would be a full 360 rotation.
Got it.
Kick flip would be like this.
Yeah.
And then a 360 flip is spinning it and flipping it and then landing back on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dude, I love it. Okay, so fast forward now, you're almost, you're 48, going to be 49.
Yeah.
Still doing it?
Not like I used to. So when I met my wife, I was wakeboarding, wake skating all the time. I bought this machine from Switzerland called a winch.
Yeah.
It's a high-powered winch, basically. Yeah. It's all compact. And we were doing that because I'd ride all year round. We'd get wetsuits. We'd find flooded creeks, flooded ponds.
Didn't matter, man.
Yeah, we'd build like pool gaps where we'd build our own water containing area, like a sandbox.
Yeah.
And then we'd fill it with water. We'd ride across that, hit a rail, and then drop down into like a pond or something, whatever we had, wherever we could find, and people gave us permission. So I was doing that just religiously.
Yeah.
Like I'd get off work. That's all I'd think about. I'd be at work thinking about that.
You loved it.
I loved it. Yeah. So when I met my wife, I was doing it, did a couple different events. When I got married and had my son, and then I got hurt. I broke my foot wakeboarding, and then I hurt my knee again wakeboarding. So I was like, all right, I need to take some time off. Started getting back into hiking because I, taking that break from hiking and hunting. And I kind of found, like with wakeboarding, I call it my soul recharge. Like I could go out in the water, just not think about anything, just zone out, feel my body, doing the motions and having fun. And that made me feel happy. Like if I didn't get a wakeboard set in during the week, I was like miserable. When I went hiking, I went to Three Fingered Jack and hiked in on the PCT. And the views I was seeing and just the feeling of like, being out there away from everything and any help, it's just you by yourself. I just fell in love with it.
And you do that a fair amount just by yourself.
Yeah. Just now, I still go out. I didn't go out that time by myself. It was with a buddy. But
Right. Do you find many of your buddies want to do that type of hiking? That's pretty...
Some of them say they do, and then I take them out and they regret it.
I never want to do this again. This is scary.
I have a few friends that don't ever want to go hike with me again.
That's interesting.
Some of them do. Some of them like it, but I also have learned I can't push them too far.
Right.
Yeah.
Or you're okay with that.
I mean, I'm getting older now, but back then I was like, I'd push myself to climb anything.
No problem, huh?
Yeah. I mean, I was, that adrenaline junkie kind of a feeling. Yeah. I was chasing that. And like,
what's the highest peak you've climbed?
Middle Sister.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because most people hike the South Sister.
I think South Sister's taller than Middle.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's Hood, Jeff, South Sister.
Okay.
And I think Middle and North, or North and Middle.
Okay.
But I've done South and Middle Sister.
Okay.
North is kind of dangerous, and I'm too old to risk it anymore with kids.
You're like, not going to do that. Does your wife hike with you?
Sometimes.
Yeah. She's more like, hey, let's Silver Falls.
She's like, if I can drive her to a view spot, she'll take that.
Yeah.
We do a lot of car camping together, where we'll go and camp near the car, with the car.
Yeah. Tent camping.
Yeah. Tent or in the back of the truck.
Okay. Yeah. Nice. You guys are outdoorsy for sure.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay. Married. You guys have kids. Remind me your age of your kids right now.
Thank you. 13, 11, and 8.
Okay. And you guys are pretty active.
Yeah.
What sports?
Yeah. My son's in basketball right now. My daughter's been doing club soccer. My other daughter just finished up her basketball season.
Okay. So you got 3 kids and 3 sports going 3 different directions.
Yes.
How's that going?
And then my daughter just tried out for a play yesterday.
Good for her, man. Isn't that cool?
Yeah, it is. I'm excited for her, but my wife's like, well, we'll just make it work.
You just make it work, man. You're in a season.
Yeah.
The season does end, just like when you left and went to Florida, your mom and dad's season ended, kind of.
Yeah.
You're on your own, and I have daughters now, 27 and 25. We were in those seasons when they did choir, soccer, water polo, tennis, and different plays and stuff. So, but it'll go by fast anyway.
I mean, it's already going by fast.
Totally.
My youngest is 8, and today she was talking about getting her job when she gets old enough.
See, I love that.
She wants to work at Java Crew.
Does she really?
Yeah.
That is sweet. That's a great job, by the way.
I think so too.
Yeah. If you can take care of people's coffee in the morning, that might be one of the hardest jobs out there, because people are like, they're pretty picky.
They roll. I mean, just drive to Dutch Brothers and how excited and energetic those employees are.
Yeah.
And you're not.
Right.
It's kind of like, hey, you're a little too much for me. Let me have my coffee first.
Exactly. That's it's a little much.
And I don't even drink coffee.
Right. That's funny. That's right. You don't drink coffee. All right. So married, kids. What's life look like for you now that you kind of left the commercial world after those 20 years?
Yeah.
And got into photography.
I've always been in photography. Like I was shooting photos and videos when I lived in Florida.
Okay.
And then when I moved back and still active in it, we were filming all the time. I had a production company called Oregon Trail Trash Productions. Came out with a DVD.
Okay.
Right at the death of DVD, basically.
Right.
Yeah. Spent all that money on printing out DVDs.
Oh,
and
man.
I still have a box of 100.
Oh, yeah.
But I just asked someone yesterday, I was like, do you have a DVD player? And they're like, no. And I was like, man, I just got to put this stuff on YouTube because.
You do, yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny. I still have a DVD player. I can't remember the last time I've used it, though. It literally sits on underneath my TV, and there it is.
Yeah.
In fact, it's an old one. It's got a VHS as well.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I think I have that one too, in a closet.
And we have all these old VHS videos that we took when our girls were little.
Yeah.
I remember the very first camera weighed like 40 pounds.
Yeah.
I'm joking, but it was big, but we took a lot of videos with that.
That I know exactly what camera.
So
what
do you do with all those VHS and CD or DVDs that you have? How do you compile that?
I mean, like the DVDs I have of my video that I made, they're just in a box in the garage.
Right.
Everything else, like I have all these mini DV tapes.
Yeah.
And I actually had someone reach out to me last year and was like, hey, I'm looking for this footage that you shot in 2009 or 8 or something.
Yeah.
Maybe it was even 6. And I was just like, bro, I don't have that anymore.
Come
Like,
on, man.
you want me to do what?
That was almost 20 years ago.
So I kind of ignored him. And then a year later, he's still bugging me. And I was like, okay, listen, if you want me to spend the time to look up all this stuff, send me some money. Because time is money for me right now.
Time is money.
This is going to take hours to look through. Lo and behold, I found the tapes.
You did.
I had to bust out my old computer, my old camcorder.
How cool is that, though?
It was really cool going down memory lane because I found a bunch of other photos and just videos that I've been like kind of trying to share and put back out there. Because like, it's been 15, 20 years on some of that stuff. So I found it and figured out how to re-log the tape footage. That was kind of fun. Brought back memories.
Yeah.
But and I found all his footage and gave it to him.
That's so cool, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So is your passion still in real estate, all the commercial stuff, or is it?
I still have my real estate license, but I haven't practiced since 2017. I stopped in 2018.
How about your dad?
Yeah.
Is he still?
He still has his license. He's more like, we did a lot of development stuff.
Yeah.
Like my final project was up in Washington in the Tri-Cities area.
Yeah.
We had a big master plan golf course community that we were developing since he started it in 2003. And then when I moved back, I started helping him and learning that whole aspect.
Okay.
A lot of driving up there.
Yep.
Sometimes we flew, but a lot of times we drove.
But you've got your license, but you're not really practicing at this point in time.
Yeah.
Okay.
I might like refer someone.
Right.
But I have no desire to really get into real estate.
Yeah.
I mean, it's tough. I had a lot of burn deals where either the client went with someone else because the landlord said, well, I'll give you a reduction on your rent if you don't use your agent. And I was like, you know why he said that? It's because he doesn't want to pay me.
Yeah.
So,
it's totally unfair, but
you have a couple deals where you spend, 6 months or a year, or even we had this one project we spent 2 years on and it fizzled out. And I'm like, with kids coming, I can't have that inconsistency.
Right.
So photography was like, I shoot photos.
Yeah.
You want the photos? Give me a check.
Yep.
It's like instant.
Yeah. So you've been doing that for now, 7 years?
6 years,
6,
7 years? Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, I was doing photography my whole life, I'd say. I started doing like small gigs like 2014, 15, Alibi Bar and Grill in West Salem. That was my first client that I shot photos for and then also helped run their social media.
Yeah.
And that was the opening to where I am today, where I help shoot, create content, and then even still manage a couple social medias for companies.
So is Zak Stone photography and videography? Is it both?
I just go by Zak Stone Photography.
Okay.
I don't mind video.
Yeah.
It's still fun, but sometimes it can be a pain.
Yeah.
I love photos.
Okay.
Which is funny because I started out just loving video and not really liking photos. And then it kind of like evolved into more photos and less video. And now it's like definitely photos, some video. I'd rather just shoot video for myself. Or if like I have a couple clients that you shoot what you want, make it how you want, and we're behind you on it.
Okay.
Which has been really nice.
What's an ideal client for you in the photography? Is it that restaurant type thing, or is it, what is that?
I mean, I really love construction photography and content creating. I work with Dalkey Construction. We're going on almost 10 years together now.
No kidding.
Which is crazy. I think next year will be 10 years. I think we're at 9 years right now. Low Voltage Northwest. They're a low voltage electrical company. I help them out as well. W. Wallace Bar and Grill. I love restaurant, construction. I've been shooting some car photos for a couple different people. I work with different clothing brands, backpack companies, like a bunch of different outdoor brands, which helps me get into the outdoors.
Totally, it's perfect. Hey, give me some of the stuff, and I'll advertise for you, basically.
Yeah, well, I worked for Grand Trunk Hammocks, and so I'd have to go out a couple of times a month and
hammock away.
Get someone to sit in a hammock for me while I shot photos of it, or I'd have to just set my tripod up and be my own hammock model.
Yeah. I bet your wife's probably in a few of those too.
She is. Wife and kids.
Wife and kids, yeah.
You can go to Grand Trunk's Instagram and see a lot of it.
Yeah. That's awesome. As far as people connecting with you and hiring you, what's that look like for someone to connect with you to hire you?
Typically it's an email, or they'll reach out through Instagram or Facebook.
Okay.
And inquire that way. And then I try and have them email us all. Like my wife helps out with the business, with running the back of the house, like coordinating photo shoots. And
got it.
She does a lot of the editing of people photos. So like family photos, senior photos, headshots, stuff like that. Okay. She'll handle that for me.
Nice.
She has a better eye, I feel, for people photos, for editing. And so like that, people photos of more, I don't want to say newer, but I wasn't into like your typical photographer does weddings, senior photos, family photos.
Right.
That kind of came later after I'd already done like outdoor photography, product photography, stuff like that.
So there's really nothing you can't do.
I don't do weddings.
You just don't do weddings?
Yes.
Tell me why.
They're stressful.
Yeah.
You shoot 3,000, 4,000 photos in a wedding, and then you have to go through and edit not edit, but go through and find the little magic gems that you captured because like a wedding, you can't tell someone, hey, can you go do that again and smile again just like you did because you were so happy to dance with your son or your daughter. So
you got to get it right is what you're saying.
And it's maybe a saturated market. Like there's so many photographers that will do weddings that I just let them do it.
Yeah.
I feel like there's enough clients out there that we can share or even refer.
Yeah. That's awesome. Okay, you're involved with the Salem Capitals as well.
Yes.
Walk me through that, and a couple thoughts. How do you brand Zak Stone photography? Are you big on social media, YouTube? Talk about that, and then link that into Salem Capitals.
So, one thing that I watched Casey Neistat on YouTube when I was making my transition from real estate to photography. And he had this, which I agree with, you kind of gotta prove it before you can just ask for it. So he was just making videos just to make videos because he loved it. And so I was just shooting photos because I love shooting photos. And I just would put that out there on Instagram, Facebook, and then people started contacting me like, hey, we'd love to buy this photo, hang on our wall, or we want you to come shoot photos of our business or our food or whatever it is, just not a wedding. And then it just kind of started happening more and more. And like one client, Les Schwab Tires, I got new tires last year, started just making little video clips and taking photos and posting it on my Instagram stories. And they reached out to me and they're like, hey, we'd love to have you make us a video and we'll give you tires for your truck.
Come on.
And I was like, sweet. How about a check too? And they're like, sure. And I was like, getting free tires and a check? This is awesome.
Come on.
So it's evolved. You know, I feel like you have to prove your value and your worth.
Yeah. Before you get the check.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that. A lot of people try to get the check before they prove the value.
Right.
Doesn't work that way, does it?
No.
Interesting. Oh, by the way, I'm a Les Schwab guy too. I born and raised in Prineville, so I worked for Les Schwab for 11 years. It's a funny story. This morning at 7 a.m., when I first started working for Les Schwab back in full-time back in like 91, I met this guy named Mike. Well, he was trying out for the store at the Bend South store, so Bend, Oregon. which is a ski bachelor and all that. But long story short, fast forward 30 years. Well, he ultimately transfers over to the South Salem store. So we became friends. Well, he spent his 30 years and retired. And so we had coffee this morning and we're talking about his 30-year career at Les Schwab. So kind of funny.
That is funny.
My dad's a Les Schwab guy. He retired from Les Schwab after 25 years. So I think that's a great one to have.
They're a good company.
Yeah, for sure.
And my dad has used Les Schwab. Their customer service, I think, is hands down. Plus, they're all over the place, so everywhere. You can be anywhere and get something fixed. What you need to do.
So I stopped working for Les Schwab in 1998, and even a couple years ago, people, hey, you still at Les Schwab? You haven't been there for like 25 years, but that's okay.
Yeah.
It's just funny.
Well, that's what they remember, too.
That's all they remember, so.
People remember me with hair.
Was there a day when you had hair?
Oh, yeah. In real estate, I had hair.
It was beautiful, huh?
Sometimes.
Yeah. I can't, if I shaved my head, I wouldn't look good like you, though.
You got to just grow the beard out longer.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
You grow the beard out.
Because you have nothing to wash up here, so you got to grow something down here to wash.
So it kind of, I get that. So walk us through the Salem Capitol.
So kind of the same thing. Like the Capitals came to Salem. I learned about them through the Salem Chamber.
Yeah.
They were a member. And I was like, told my wife and kids, like, hey, let's go check out a Salem Capitals basketball game.
Yeah.
Got tickets, went. Kids had a blast. Like halftime, they let people come down on the court and you can dance and they have a song play and it was just like great interaction.
Yeah.
So we went back to the seats after the game. I was thinking, I got to figure out how to get my kids, like they had so much fun. How can I get them here all the time to have fun?
Right.
What can I do to help? And so I reached out to Jason. I was like, hey, I'm going to bring my kids back. If I brought my camera, do you think I could shoot some photos for you? And I'll just, I'll stay off the court because they already had some guys shooting on the court. And I'll just shoot from the stands and move around. And he's like, oh, that'd be great. We'd love any extra help at all.
And this started about 3 years ago?
This is their fourth season now. This was in the first season. This was season one.
Okay.
So halfway through the season, I started getting more and more into the helping out with photography and got on the court, started shooting the players more. And then Jason just really liked my eye. The photographer who was doing it was going to be gone for season 2. So he asked if I wanted to be the main photographer. And I said, heck yeah.
Heck yeah.
So we figured out a deal and I got my own little private table that my wife and kids sit at. And I get tickets to give away to friends to help get them hooked. And it's awesome. Here we are going on season 4.
Dude. And you said March 1st and 2nd
is the first new season game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And season 4.
This was season 4.
Okay. So I need to take my wife there.
Absolutely.
Okay. I like that. Okay. So that's progressed too because you did it by yourself. Then Jason did it with you for a little while. You guys could.
Well, so season 2, Jason has me come in as a photographer. And then right before the season started, he's like, hey, I'm going to play. Do you think you could be on the microphone and help with timeouts and the halftime and kind of entertain people?
Yeah.
And I was like, entertain people and shoot photos? I could probably do that because I had microphone experience in Florida with the wakeboard industry. And then I did some stuff for a Texas cable park as well when I was younger. And so I was like, I'll be happy to help out that way. And it was a lot of fun. And then Jason kind of got hurt and he didn't play. So we were both on the microphones together and we're like, dude, 2 people is even more fun.
Yeah.
And the crowd really enjoyed it. And like we were like interact with each other because he's super tall and I'm not 6 feet.
Yeah.
So everyone would not make fun of us, but like joke about how we look like Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger from Twins.
Yeah. How funny is that?
And so that was fun. We did that second season and then last season. And then this season, he's going to be playing again. So he got me Jasmine Hayworth to help out.
Yeah.
So we're going to be dual MCs. And we had a scrimmage just last Sunday.
Yeah.
The 2 teams played each other, kind of like the final tryout. And I had a blast with Jasmine. I think her and I working together because her bringing the female element. Because one time she was like, all right, I want to hear all my ladies scream. And I was like, that's what we've been missing. We've been missing that like kind of male-female banter and just.
She's got some good energy too.
She has great energy.
Jazzy.
Yes.
Yep. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, we're going to wrap up here in a moment, but really what people want to know is who's Zach really? Like underneath it all, what's your faith look like? What's you guys go to church anywhere? What's that look like, and how do you lead your wife and your kids as the man of the house?
It's funny. I just had lunch with Jim Sparkman, and I was talking about my faith and how sometimes when I question it, I think back to my mom. She had 3 miscarriages after me, and one of them killed her. She actually died on the hospital table for a couple minutes. And she tells me the story about how she saw her body on the bed, and she lifted up out of the room, and she went to a dark space, and this light came to her and surrounded her and kind of felt like she was being hugged. And she felt someone saying, "It's not your time." And as soon as that was said, she's back in the hospital bed, waking up. And I think about that often. And then I also think about the time my grandpa passed away. It was October 19th. And I was I'd been with him all night and day from the night before. And October 19th, the new Pearl Jam album came out. And I wanted to get it. So my mom picked me up, took me to get the album. When we were on our way back to his house, I got a phone call that he had passed. And immediately I felt like, in my head, I was like, I can't believe how selfish I am to want to go get this stupid CD when I should have been there by his side. And immediately, before I could even finish thinking it, I felt my body picked up out of the chair, and it was him holding me. And he said, "Don't worry about it. It's okay. I love you very much." And he then like just put me at peace. So I try it's so hard nowadays with all the different negative influences all around us, to keep my kids and my wife. I mean, I feel like my wife does a good job helping me stay focused. But just try our best. We don't go to church. It's like with everything going on, it's so busy to get everyone up. We do want to start going. We have friends that go to Foursquare in West Salem. And we want to go check it out, but just getting everyone ready after games and practices, and it's a struggle.
Hey, we're busy. I mean, I get that we're busy, and trust me, after COVID too, it also gave us an excuse not to go to church. So there was times when my wife and I didn't go to church for times because, we couldn't. And so getting back into it, it's like going to the gym. Yeah. It's easy not to. But how do you feel when you actually go? Anytime I go to the gym, I come home, my wife goes, "Are you glad you went?" "Yes, of course." I go to church, "Are you glad you went?" "Yes, I'm glad I went." Sometimes though, getting the energy to go, it's easy not to. Yeah.
And I feel like I went to the gym yesterday, and it'd been a while since I'd gone, and it felt good. And I know like going to church, you kind of get that re-anchored feeling. And that's like with the gym or anything I think that we put off that can have a positive impact on us. You always walk away, like after a Capitals game, I always feel great, like this energy. And even going to the woods, like I feel like the woods is my church. Abaquaw Falls. If you've ever been there at the base of the falls.
I think Billy talks about Abaquaw Falls, that's how I got the name. Abaquaw Media or whatever.
I mean, and he's out there in Silverton, which is near there. But I mean, it's just a cathedral of basalt lava, and you just
I've never been out there.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
I got to go.
You need to check it out.
Well, I think, Zach, I don't think you're alone when it comes to the whole idea of going to church, and it's easy not to. But, how do we feel when we actually go to church, go to the gym? And my encouragement even to my family is we go to church. If we can, we're going. If we're sick, obviously we're not going to go. But really our encouragement is for everyone to go to church if we can. And you guys will find the time in due time to get back at it. So
I think once the kids are not all doing sports and everything, because sometimes like Sunday's like, okay, we got to do laundry and we got to clean the house and get ready for another week of craziness.
Yep. Hey, leave our audience with maybe a thought that we haven't covered yet. What's maybe a thought, an encouragement that you can give to our audience that would want them to really get to know you more and just be encouraged?
I mean, one thing that sticks out to me is going back to Casey Neistat, like his vlog videos was a huge inspiration for me like 10 years ago. I just recently started watching them again.
Yeah.
And I just watched an episode where he talked about when he moved to New York and how scared he was and he didn't have any money, but he did it. And that kind of felt like how when I moved to Florida, but also how when I stepped into photography, is like I was scared and didn't know what to do, but here I am still doing it because I didn't want to give up. And I think not giving up when you want something really bad is the way to get it. You might fail a few times, but really all the failures is finding the wrong way to do it. Yeah. And you got to try again to find the right way to do it.
Yeah. That's good advice. I mean, you can't have success unless there's failure, right?
Well, you don't know. Like one thing I taught at the wakeboard camp when I lived down in Florida was I told these kids, like, listen, you're going to go out there and ride and have a terrible time riding sometimes. But you're going to have days you go out and you're going to land every trick. Yeah. But you wouldn't know how awesome it is to land every trick if you weren't falling on every trick. So you got to have the good and the bad. Otherwise, you can't compare them.
Yeah, yeah. No, I totally agree. I remember growing up water skiing. If you weren't crashing, you weren't trying hard enough.
So that was my slogan. It's like, if you're not crashing, you're not having fun.
Right. Yeah. So I was going to go out and I was going to crash. It was going to be painful. But that was the only way I was going to learn.
That's why my hips hurt.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, so the takeaway is don't quit.
Don't quit.
Keep doing it. Keep doing it. Well, those are good words. Well, Zach, thanks for being here today.
Thanks for inviting me.
Really cool to get to know you better. And if somebody wants to reach out to you, get to know you better, what's the best method?
Hit me up on Instagram or shoot me an email, zakstonphotography@gmail.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'll put that in the show notes as well. So.
Cool. Yeah, I'll get you some links of the wake skating stuff too.
Dude, that would be awesome. We'll put that in there as well. So, well, thanks for being here this week. We really appreciate you listening each week. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel, please do. We really want you to share these stories and get these out. And it does help our algorithms to grow our channel. So we're thankful for you. And we'll see you next week. Thank you, Zach.